Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to begin by saying that there are a lot of things in this farm bill that I actually agree with, and I would like to be supportive of such components of this bill. I agree with and would like to be a partner in getting this bill passed. However, there are some things I need to mention. For the last 50 years, Democrats and Republicans have worked together to combine food and farming programs in a bipartisan effort. However, when discussing the 2018 Farm Bill, which we will come up for a vote very soon, I want to shed some light on some things that don't quite add up. Some things that aren't what I would call common sense. In essence, this bill aims to restrict eligibility and reduce benefits of the nation's most effective anti-hunger programs, SNAP, formerly known as food stamps. Moreover, this proposed bill dumps a massive burden on state governments. Therefore, although I intend to be an active partner in the final passage of this legislation, I cannot and will not support the 2018 Farm Bill until the necessary changes are made. If enacted, this bill as it is currently designed will deal damaging blows to the very heart of America by cutting nearly $20 billion from SNAP, resulting in higher levels of hunger, poverty, and critical health problems. And I want to take just a minute to remind my colleagues and those who are watching at home who the SNAP recipients are. In my home state of Missouri, SNAP reached 759,000 residents, more than 10% of the population. That's 1 in every 10 Missourians. SNAP kept 221,000 people out of poverty in Missouri, including 109,000 children, which reminds me, and this is the painful part of being in a body that has now become tribal in the way we conduct business. And it is so sad that we've come into this situation. Over and over and over, there is this theory that is floated out in America that people are stealing food stamps and living in luxury homes and all of this, and it's just so sad because when you hear something like this for decades, people actually believe it. And there is no proof to what they say when they make these allegations. It may be important to know that 82% of the places where food stamps or SNAP is redeemed, there is 0.5% fraud. 0.5% fraud. But if you listen to people, they're not going to say it on the floor, but they can go and say it out in the world. But they won't sit on the floor because they know that it's inaccurate. But you would come to believe that, boy, these people are ripping us hardworking Americans off. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. That's from Macbeth. And it is exactly what's happening. We're deceiving the American public. I read somewhere that says the generous will themselves be blessed for the food they share with the poor. That is something that we should remember, particularly those of us who are inclined to read the book from which that quote came. As representatives of the United States of America, it is our responsibility to pass legislation that is proactive, not reactive. It is our responsibility to understand the very real and human consequences that could take place if this legislation is passed as it currently stands. Once again, let me remind you of the fact that the SNAP program is the most effective way to combat food insecurity. I know, I grew up poor. I grew up in public housing. I saw my father working three jobs to get us out of public housing. We lived there 5 years. And he would not even take food stamps because he didn't want anybody to think that he was not working hard enough. So I can get a little frustrated when I hear people lying about people who receive SNAP. The fact that in the year 2018, there are children and adults in America that go hungry, and it is absolutely appalling. It is important to note that over 70% of the people who receive SNAP are children, the disabled, and the poor. I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.